There's been some assessments completed right the way across the London area about the levels of child exploitation going on in our capital city right now. Now we're going to have a look at some of the main boroughs involved, the main offenders, if you like. But first I thought it was important to give ourselves a reminder about how Sadiq Khan treats the issue of grooming gangs and child abuse. Earlier this year, Susan Hall was attempting to question our mayor on grooming gangs, and this is how he reacted and this is how he played around with the issue.
Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
So the situation in London in relation to young people being groomed is different to the parts of the country. So what we have in London is young people being groomed, use your words, not mine, to be using county lines. In relation to sometimes...
Okay, let me make it clear. Sorry, I wasn't clear enough. I was told I shouldn't be saying rape gangs. They are rape gangs. I'm talking about rape gangs. I'm not talking about country lines. But to go back, nobody likes me saying rape gangs, although they are rape gangs. Grooming gangs that I would call rape gangs. Tell me about them. How many of those have we got? Not country lines, those particular groups.
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
We know in London there are issues about exploitation of young people, but they're not as defined by the member in her definition of what those types of gangs are.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for you to misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
Today we need to give a full answer. Can she be clear what she means by that? I'm not clear what she means.
How much clearer do you want me to be? Look at the gangs that they've uncovered in other parts of the country. Do we have those gangs in London? It's a simple question. The answer is very simple. It's yes or no. I'm not asking you where those gangs are because the police might not want them to be disclosed. I'm asking you, do we have those sort of gangs in London?
I'm not sure why she's so nervous to say what she means. What do you mean?
No. I am saying exactly what I mean. I'm saying, have we got any of those grooming gangs in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If she could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
So we do have issues in London with young girls being groomed for county lines. Some of those girls are used for sex. And that's one of the reasons why I've set up things like the Lighthouse, funded by City Hall, why we've set up 4 hubs that help survivors of child sexual abuse, why we're investing in London's Violence and Exploitation Support Service, why I commissioned the HMI to look into the issue of child exploitation, why the Met Police Service now employs 1,200 child protection officers, why we have Operations Interior, first begun in London, why we're the only police force that began the V100, targeting the 100 most violent young people.
I just asked a yes-no question. So approximately how many of these gangs that I am talking about, that I do not know why you don't understand the sort of gangs I'm talking about, exactly, or approximately I should say, to give you leeway, approximately how many of those gangs have we got in London? Because the public is very, very rightfully concerned about this and concerned about these young women.
Well, I'm still none the wiser why she's so nervous about saying what she means. But in London, we have V100, which are the 100 most prolific, dangerous people the police target. That number goes up and down. So one month, the V100 may be 120 people, or one month there may be 80 people, and each BCU has a localized V number. So when I was in Croydon a few weeks ago, the V number wasn't 100, it was a bit below. But as they reminded me, people can sometimes go in that list or out that list.
Thank you. Chairman, I was very clear in what I was talking about. I just don't understand what it is that the Mayor wants me to say that's any different.
Now, I was flat out disgusted with that performance. When we're talking about the well-being and safety of our small children in the capital, this is the response that he gives. He tries to be clever. He's playing some little word game in his mind here, and he thinks he's being oh so clever and dancing round the issue. But you see exactly how this man feels about child abuse. He doesn't care. He doesn't care, because if he did, he would have answered those questions in a really, really serious way. So the question is this: do you understand what grooming gangs are? Well, I understand what they are. I'm sure you understand what they are as well. But Mr. Sir Sadiq Khan here, he's trying to be really clever, and he's saying, well, what do you mean with this and what do you mean by that? And what are the people of London supposed to take from that little performance there? Well, I'll tell you what the people of London can take from that performance. They can see exactly how Sadiq Khan feels about the children of London. They can see that he doesn't care. He's not bothered. He just wants to play clever games with people in the London Assembly. But the real fact of it is that when you have an ability to speak out as an official, as somebody who has power within any organisation, if you fail to speak up, then you are complicit within anything that's going on. So if there's abuse happening and you don't say anything, then you are in effect part of the problem. And so because Sadiq Khan chooses to not say anything and cover it up, in effect, that makes him part of the problem. And so part of the reason why in our capital that there is child exploitation going on is because of our mayor being part of it. And that makes him a creature beneath our contempt, the worst type of human being imaginable, that is quite happy to score political points while children are being exploited on our streets under this man's watch. And to move on from Sadiq Khan, who is always an annoying character in every respect, we'll look at this recent data. Now, the London boroughs, as you'll see here, that have been most affected or have the highest rates of child exploitation are Islington, Barking and Dagenham and Hackney. So in Islington, we've got Islington North and South. So who have we got? Well, first of all, we've got Jeremy Corbyn. So this is a man who likes to cavort around with terrorists quite often. He likes to talk about Hamas and all of the children suffering in Gaza. But of course, meanwhile, there's children being exploited in his own borough, on his patch, while he's giving speeches about conflicts that are happening on the other side of the world. Then we move on to Emily Thornberry. And we all remember Emily Thornberry, who doesn't like the England flag, but also seems to campaign all the time about reducing hate speech in her borough. She's very, very focused on that, not so focused on keeping children safe. Now, I didn't know a couple of the other MPs, Nessil Kaliskin and Margaret Mullane. I didn't know any of them, but they were both Labour, incidentally. And the final one, the final person from Hackney, is our lovable Diane Abbott, cuddly Diane, who is a race grifter. All she does is talk about reparations and how hard it is for black people in her area, in addition to whining about foreign conflicts, of course. Whilst again, children are being exploited on this woman's patch. So while she's out every weekend doing the Gaza protests round, I'm sure that there are plenty of children being passed around in Hackney while she's busy virtue signalling to all of the morons that go on these marches. And the common thread? Well, you've already guessed it. They're all Labour. And is that fair? Is it fair to put that onto Labour? Well, perhaps it is, perhaps it's not. But I think it's indicative of our modern politics. What we've got is a bunch of politicians now who are so concerned with virtue signalling, talking about international affairs, talking about foreign conflicts, that they forget their number one priority should be their constituents. And on all of these people's watches, child exploitation is ubiquitous across all of these people's areas, and there isn't any evidence at all that any of these people have raised this issue with the media or on social media. They don't want to raise the issue, so like Sadiq Khan, they're not raising it, they have a duty to raise it, therefore they are all complicit in this. If they're just going to sit there and allow this to happen, then to my mind these people are just as bad as the actual abusers themselves. Thanks very much for your time.